guys training today. So before you could ever go away from a training session, you really need to stretch your muscles. So I've picked to stretch your hemis because we've worked those really, really well today, and also your lats after doing your pull-ups today. So first I'll get you to stretch your hemis. So if I have you laying down on the ground on your back, and I'll just show you where we're going. So I want you to use the band and put it around the ball of your foot, keeping your opposite leg out nice and straight. I want you to lean back and pull your leg with the band. So the more you point your toes towards your face, the stronger the pull on your hemis is going to be, and the more it's going to stretch it. And also the resistance you pull towards your body, the more it's going to stretch. But you need to keep this leg nice and straight that's up in the air, as well as the one that's down on the ground. So you need to keep nice and straight, and you need to breathe through it. And I want you to hold it for about 10 to 20 seconds on each side, please. And if you're not feeling it, let me know, and I will assist in helping you. So if your hemis are really, really tight, you might not get a really straight leg, so you might just need to release it back a little bit. Maybe not pull as hard on your foot, or whichever way it is. So you want to be holding it. So that's about 5 seconds down, and breathing through the stretch. So the more you breathe and relax, the further you'll be able to start to stretch your muscles out here. So that's 15 seconds down. And when you're ready to switch legs, another 5 seconds, and then we'll get into stretch your lats out. Alright, and that's done. So you want to release that. So stretching your lats, I want you to stand up on your feet. I want you to have your feet under your hips, or a little bit wider depending on where you're comfortable. Don't mean to hit you if I do. I want your arms up nice and tall. And I want you to lean over to your right side, and you should feel a nice big stretch down in here. So I want you to be breathing into it and holding it for 20 seconds on this side, keeping your belly button to your spine, and going over to the other side as well and holding for another 20 seconds. And once again, you should be pulling your stretch all down here into the lats. Of holding it, and slowly coming back up to neutral and over to your left hand side. That's it. Excellent work. So keeping your belly button to your spine. Beautiful. So you can release that whenever you're finished stretching your body. Go back to the other side if you need to do your other side again. Otherwise, we're all done for today, actually. How did we like it?
It was good.
It was good? Was there anything you'd like to change on it?
No, I really enjoyed the squats.
Really enjoyed the squats. Squat lady.
Yeah.
High five us, ladies.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Ashley. Special populations. High blood pressure. High blood pressure many times has no symptoms, but it can cause some serious problems such as stroke, heart failure, heart attack, kidney failure. You can control high blood pressure through exercise, healthy eating, and sometimes medication if need be. If you have high blood pressure, you can follow a pretty regular exercise routine, but you do need to take some precautions. If you're doing resistance exercise, try and do it in a seated sitting position so you avoid some dizziness. Remember to breathe during your exercises. I know that sounds silly, but most clients never remember to breathe. If you feel lightheaded before a workout, it's best to check your blood pressure before, just to be safe. Don't overgrip your weights or clench your fists while you're running or exercising, and progress the intensity of cardio when your doctor gives you the clearance. I would modify the training session that I planned by doing dumbbell chest press instead of push-ups. I would change the pull-ups to seated rows so my client is seated while doing it. I would change my weighted barbell squats just to air squats, and I would focus on their technique and making sure they're not standing up too fast to get really lightheaded and dizzy. For my lower back pain client, depending on what they've actually done to their back would sort of depend on what I would change, but I would still do my push-ups. I would probably still do my pull-ups as well. I would change my squats to a leg press though, light, wouldn't go heavy, but doing a leg press would relieve a bit of pressure rather than doing squats. I would change the cross trainer bit to the treadmill and walk, and probably not build up quite as high intensity, just to stop some pressure that's put on the lower back. And instead of doing the rower, I would do a seated bike, just once again to relieve a bit of pressure on that lower back. I would avoid doing any toe touches or bending forward. I wouldn't get my client to do any sort of heavy weights at all, and I would try and avoid them doing some running. As for a client that has a shoulder injury, once again would all depend on what their injury would be and what their main focus would be. But I would change my push-ups to wall push-ups. Hopefully that wouldn't aggravate the shoulder too much. I would change my pull-ups for their back strength to seated rows at a lighter weight. I would still keep the squats, maybe not barbell squats depending on how their shoulder was when they were holding the bar. I would I'd probably do a treadmill, save them using their arms on the cross trainer, and I would change the rowing to a stationary bike once again, just to protect the shoulder. Depending on what their shoulder injury was, I might even add in some banded rotator exercises just to start strengthening up those muscles again.